Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another COVID conversation. Tonight we have Indiana University, Union College, and Vanderbilt with us on the call, on the line. My name is Jason Rabinovitz, and with me tonight is Barbara Leventhal, who's going to be co-presenting. Let's go over a couple housekeeping things first. So first things first, we do have one handout in this presentation. If you click on the little handout plus sign and the go to webinar control panel, it will open up and you'll be able to download it. It's the admission statistics for the 12 state Florida universities, along with our summer test prep calendar and a little information about our summer courses for credit. If you have any audio difficulties during this presentation, if you click on the audio, there is the option to dial in by phone. It takes a couple seconds to get it done, but that should cure any audio difficulties that you do have. Before we get started, we want to get an idea of who is on the call or on the webinar with us. So I wanted to do a quick poll to see who you are. So here we go. I'm going to leave this open for about 30 seconds. If you guys can just start filling it in. You can select more than one if you fit more than one category, and that way, you know, our presenters get an idea of who they are presenting to, and they can tailor their information to make sure that they get it to the best people. And similar to our last webinar, it looks like the majority is split between rising seniors and independent educational consultants. Oh, we're getting really high voting. Great. This is great. Just leave it a couple more seconds and I'm going to close it now. All right. Excellent. So just so everyone knows, with 42% of the people on are rising seniors, 43% are independent educational consultants, and the rest is made up of other students in high school, from 8% current seniors and 13% just high school students and their parents, and 2% guidance counselors. So a little bit about our presenters tonight. We have Scott Siegel from Indiana University. He's been there since 2002 as the Senior Associate Director of Admissions for Regional Recruitment. He lives in Milwaukee and manages a recruitment territory that includes Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. He manages IU's team of 8 regional admissions directors based around the country in key non-resident markets. He has a BA in History and Journalism from IU and his Master's in Higher Education and Student Affairs from Miami of Ohio. And he has worked in student programming at California State University, Sacramento, before returning to IU from the Midwest. Also from IU is Mary Wintercorn, who's the Senior Assistant Director of Admissions for the state of Florida. She's our Florida rep. She's new to the IU team, but brings with her 15 years of working in higher ed and admissions. She has a BA in psychology and MS in social counseling, and enjoys working with students and helping in any capacity that she can. From Union College, we have Michael Moore. He has a unique and powerful vision for how enrollment management can impact success of incoming students. He's crafted and led minority recruitment programs that are helping to fight America's quiet crisis, the lack of participation of the underrepresented majority, the minorities, women, and other groups in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and the liberal arts and humanities. Michael's success implementing innovative and entrepreneurial programs at various types of colleges and universities is impressive, but above all else, he cares deeply about helping his students and employees achieve their full potential. Outside of work, Michael's many favorite pastimes include cultural exploration, travel, sports, and related endeavors. A former student athlete, he can never get enough of the sound of sneakers squeaking on the hardwood, basketballs bouncing on the floor, or the referees and coaches' whistles. Finally, we have Jan Suter from Vanderbilt. She's an admissions officer and has been with Vanderbilt since 2011. She previously worked with students from New York City and now supports students from New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, Washington State, and San Francisco. Originally from Baltimore, Jan began her career in higher ed at Penn State and has worked at Case Western Reserve in Cleveland and NYU. She loves living in Nashville and is excited to share information about Vanderbilt tonight. Finally, Barbara Leventhal is our representative from SCORE at the Top. She is one of our educational consultants, and she brings with her more than 30 years of experience as a teacher, administrator, and college counselor. Barbara, I like to say that all parents take great pride in the special qualities of their children. My role is to define those qualities and channel them in unique ways that tell a compelling story for their college admission. Many parents know Barbara as the guru behind student projects. Her ideas have inspired students to create original projects based on their interests. Fully engaged with her proteges, she then guides them through project implementation. Some have created projects that drew thousands of dollars in donations. Others have written and published books on Amazon. So tonight's format is going to be a little bit different since we have 3 colleges. They are each going to give a short presentation. Followed by their 3 presentations. Barbara will lead a Q&A session. At any time during their presentations, during Barbara's Q&A, feel free to submit your own questions through the GoToWebinar control panel. There's a little questions part, and at the end of Barbara's Q&A, I'll take over and try to get through as many of your questions as we can. And for those that we can't, we will still try to get you the answers and publish it on our blog. We are going to take everyone in alphabetical order. So I'm going to turn this over to Scott to start his presentation on IU. So here we go. Scott, you are now the presenter.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name's Scott Siegel from the Office of Admissions at IU Bloomington. My colleague, Mary Wintercorn, is with me today. Mary is our new Regional Admissions Director for the Florida market and has been with us for just a couple of months. And so we are thrilled to have a full-time professional working with prospective students and counselors in the great state of Florida, which sends us over 100, 125 new freshmen every year. So we're thrilled to have Mary on board. I'm going to do the presentation this afternoon, but Mary would be the primary point of contact for students and families and counselors in Florida, where I know many of you do reside. So IU is an amazing place that encourages your students' personal, academic, and professional exploration. IUB students will be able to explore alongside other top students with a student body that's made up of 33,000 undergraduates. The academic reputation of Indiana universities brings these students to our campus from around the world to pursue their education on our campus, with students from all 50 states and 150 different countries. Students become a part of a diverse and welcoming community. We have 12 academic schools at the university that offer world-renowned undergraduate academic programs, and we're creating new programs to meet your needs today and tomorrow. Many of our programs are nationally ranked. Some of them you may be familiar with, the world-class Jacobs School of Music, the Kelly School of Business, which continually ranks in the top 10 among undergraduate business schools in the United States, some of the top public affairs programs through the O'Neill School of Public and Environmental Affairs, a real focus on languages at IU through the Hamilton Lugar School of Global and International Studies. Our 12 schools in total offer over 4,000 courses each semester and more than 200 different majors, many of which are nationally ranked and recognized. You'll have the opportunity to customize your degree by combining majors into double or triple majors, adding minors and areas of outside study. You can even create your own major through our individualized major program. Many incoming freshmen are unsure of what they want to major in, and at Indiana University, that is totally okay. We encourage students to take some time to really consider their possibilities as well as what we have to offer. And our students have the flexibility to explore the many options that IU has to offer with up to 2 years to officially declare a major. So the majority of our students do start off exploratory. About 60% of our incoming freshmen start off in what's called the University Division, which is our academic home for exploratory students. And right around 40% of our students are directly admitted to their first choice academic school. The only programs with us that are direct admit only would be performing arts majors, such as those through the Jacobs School of Music, which are audition-based admissions directly into those programs in music and theater and dance. Otherwise, anything that you saw there and anything you would see on our website, students have the opportunity to discover and become a part of once they get to campus. And that does include the highly ranked Kelley School of Business. We do have an honors program at IU. About the top 10% of our incoming freshmen every year are invited to be a part of the Hutton Honors College. It's something that students can do along with their regular academic program, so it's not limited to any particular academic major. Honors students gain the intimacy of a smaller liberal arts college within the resources of a large and distinguished Big Ten university. Students in the Hutton Honors College will have access to special program opportunities, including small challenging courses with top faculty, funding for research and study abroad trips, events and speakers, and then residential opportunities. There are honors floors across all of our residential neighborhoods. All admitted students are automatically considered at the time of application, and eligible students will receive an invitation within a few weeks of receiving their admissions decision, and then the opportunity to apply for funding through the Hutton Honors College. We are a large public research university, a member of the Big Ten Athletic Conference. So it is a traditional residential type of university experience, and that means lots of campus life opportunities. So not only will students receive a world-class education with amazing academic opportunities and support services, they'll have hundreds of opportunities to extend their education and get involved outside of our classroom. So around 750 different student clubs and organizations, from political and student government to social, religious, and performance. In addition, IU has about 70 different Greek life organizations. About 20% of our undergraduates are involved with Greek life at IU. 55 intramural and club sports, and one of the largest student unions in the country. So a very active, engaging college campus. 40% of our students come to us from outside the state of Indiana. So it is definitely a big, diverse student body that come from all over the country, all over the world. Definitely not a commuter school, the type of place that people come, they love Bloomington, and they get involved on campus. Certainly the arts are a big deal at IU, probably just as much of a big deal as our Big Ten sports programs. That's something I really enjoyed myself about being a student at IU, is that balance and that blend between all of the school spirit and enthusiasm around athletics, but then over 1,500 different artistic and cultural performances each year, from student music performances through the world-renowned Jacobs School of Music. We're the home to a collegiate opera company, a ballet company. The amazing IU Auditorium offers professional productions. And so it's really an exciting and an engaging place to be a college student. All of our first-year students are required to live on campus, and we do offer 4 residential neighborhoods with a variety of different living and learning opportunities. So students can live with others who share their same academic interest, or maybe it's an outside of class interest that they may have. And then once you're a sophomore, you do have the opportunity to move off campus if you would like. Certainly IU is a school that is rich in both history and tradition. IU students are very passionate and engaged in both the campus and the community. And some of the opportunities that we have include Culture Fest, Big Ten athletics. We're the home to the Little 500, which is the largest intramural cycling event in the country, immortalized in the movie Breaking Away. And all of that takes place in Bloomington, Indiana, which is an exciting small city about an hour south of Indianapolis. So not only will students have experiences on one of the most beautiful college campuses in the country, but they'll also become a member of the greater Bloomington community. About 80,000 permanent residents in Bloomington, with great restaurants and shopping, music venues and theater companies, recreation trails, outdoor recreation opportunities. So students, if you came to visit, would probably tell you just as many things that they love about the community of Bloomington as they do about IU. They're really synonymous with one another. And then at IU, your education will not be limited to the classroom. A great deal of your education will be experiential learning, providing you with real-world situations and application of knowledge to learn through your experiences at IU and beyond. Internships, field experiences, service projects, case competitions are all available and a part of many students' extracurricular and co-curricular lives on our campus. Well known for study abroad, we do rank in the top 10 nationally as far as the number of students who study abroad, with more than 300 different programs in 50 or more countries, 15 different languages. I mentioned that IU is very well known for languages. We do have 4 flagship programs that are funded by the Department of Defense in Mandarin, in Turkish, in Russian, and in Arabic that would each include a year-long study abroad experience, and then many traditional semester-long experiences, as well as shorter global immersion opportunities across many of our academic programs. And then we're really thinking about our students' futures now and how we can help them be successful once they leave campus. And our goal is to provide students with all the opportunities possible to help reach their professional and personal goals. And that's available through 13 different specialized career development centers across our different academic schools, and longstanding relationships with internship providers and employers. So I think I will kind of leave it at that, just kind of an overview there of what is a very vibrant, large public research university in the Big Ten. Would certainly direct you to our website to find out more information about all of our academic programs and campus life. And then again, thrilled to have Mary there in the state of Florida as the new admissions director, regionally based in the Sunshine State. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Scott. I'm gonna now bring it over to Michael Moore. Yes. Michael, if you can share your screen with us. There we go.
Associate Dean at Union College, and just wanted to thank you all for joining us. We have some good information, hopefully that will enlighten you a little bit more about our small liberal arts college located in Schenectady, New York. We have about 2,200 students on campus, quite literally from all over the world. We represent 48 states and about 53 countries. We have a unique kind of positioning that Union College is oftentimes referred to as a really good liberal arts college. And if you talk to other folks in maybe in the STEM sector, they'll say, oh, that's a great engineering school. Well, the reality is Union balances STEM along with the liberal arts and social sciences. One of the most unique ways and communications that we share with and about Union is that the word union itself kind of highlights where things come together in its most basic sense. So when you think about Union College in those terms, we absolutely are, if not unique, certainly pretty special. Connection on our campus is extremely important and a hallmark of what we are about. And that connection is not focused simply on being connected electronically and having some of the most, one of the most wired and sophisticated campuses in terms of all the bells and whistles that go with our labs, our fitness centers, where our students dine and live. But the people connection is critically important to what we focus on at Union College. Students who arrive on our campus, whether they've come from large or small public schools, whether they've come from rural or major metropolitan locations, they tend to find a space on campus, and we connect students through what we call Minerva programs, or our Minerva House program. And I'll hopefully get a chance to talk to you about that program a little bit later. But rest assured that connection to campus, through campus, and communities around us is critically important and a hallmark of what we do. The power of Union also includes the power of integration. So when we talk about connecting students, the focus is not strictly on their academic discipline. It certainly isn't limited to their extracurricular and co-curricular pursuits, but it's inclusive of all of those things, even when they don't traditionally overlap. So you see a dance studio on campus there. Union College offers amazing programs in dance, theater, and music. You also see a lecture for what we call our first year preceptoral, which is an immersive class that requires students to work uh, against and with each other. It requires students to challenge themselves, to challenge their peers, to challenge their faculty members in a way that broadens their insight and understanding about research across disciplines. On our campus, even though we have what you see to your left in the that's Ainley Hall, which is our new state-of-the-art engineering and science center that reopened just this year in January. So research obviously takes place in a STEM-focused center, but also our students that are studying philosophy and sociology and history are engaged and integrated into research, the research enterprise on our campus. We'd like to talk about immersion. So exposing you to the different opportunities, whether they be research or international programs, the immersion, the depth at which we anticipate you going is critical to your education. It's critical to the other tools, the personal skills that you'll develop that will make you a part of and connected to your community, however you define community, while you're at Union College, and of course, beyond Union College in the years that you live and work and study and learn and make an impact on the world that you're in. So immersion for us could mean research, could mean taking part in programs in Cambodia where you're helping run a clinic and bring healthcare to different parts of the world that may not be served as well as your neighborhood and your community where you are right now. We have programs that expose students and immerse them where they are leading research and publishing research with their faculty members and presenting that research to national boards, organizations, and professional groupings. That all takes place at a college that is 100% undergraduate. It could come across as being a little bit daunting, but for most students that choose Union College, they welcome that and are prepared to step out of their comfort zones as we encourage them to do, and sometimes nudge, and then other times drag them or shove them a little bit into those opportunities to enrich themselves. Inclusion for us is something that we take really serious, and each of our campus community members takes personally. Union College students arrive, our faculty and staff arrive at their jobs, at their positions, knowing that it's a community of folks who view themselves as connected through wisdom. So much so that we're connected as brothers and sisters. We become brothers and sisters through wisdom. So inclusion focuses on every student. Inclusion focuses on the shared idea that we all bring wisdom to the table. Inclusion in every student means not just a representation of students from different backgrounds, cultures, socioeconomic strata. It really means that you are bringing that tool chest with you and saying, here I am, accept me as I am. I am new to this community, but I am not a stranger to taking advantage of opportunity. I am no stranger to being in uncomfortable positions, and I hope that and trust that you'll accept me at Union. Union's response to that statement for all of our incoming students is, welcome aboard. This is where we hope you'll fit in and challenge and grow with the rest of us. And all of that kind of is wrapped around this idea of developing leaders who will lead in small ways and large ways for multiple tomorrows. And multiple tomorrows is not just a suggestion that when you graduate, there's another horizon that you'll embark upon in terms of the time that you'll spend with any different organization, firm, group that you'll work for and with. But it means attacking and preparing to lead in unknown environments, unknown situations, very much like we're doing now. And you'll find that Union College students are tapped to lead and have been tapped to lead in those environments across sectors, across disciplines and industries. And we expect that to continue. We are considering every opportunity to prepare students, not just because of this COVID conversation we're having, but because we know that multiple tomorrows will present different challenges of many sorts with us. So I will transition now and leave you with that. And thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, Michael.
Mhm.
And last but not least is Jan Sutter from Vanderbilt. Just made presenter.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can, Jan.
Okay, all right, great. Thanks so much. And share my webcam. Okay, I think I'm ready. All right, well, thanks so much for the introduction. Again, my name is Jan Suter, and I am an admissions officer at Vanderbilt. I've been with Vanderbilt for about 9 years, and Vanderbilt has about 28 admissions officers like me, so we have a fairly large office for Vanderbilt, which is about 6,900 undergraduate students. And that is because we travel around the country and around the world, connecting with students and parents and guidance counselors and our alumni, certainly meeting students where they are, because we really do value the diversity of experiences and backgrounds and conversations that are happening on our campus. And I also like to say that although we work with territories, and I am dedicated to working with students from Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont, also San Francisco area, as well as Washington State, we are one big happy family. We have transitioned, the whole office has transitioned to doing everything online all the time, but we are still certainly reachable in a number of different ways, and we invite you to connect with us through phone calls, email, looking at our website, taking the virtual tour, but we're really happy to help guidance counselors and independent educational consultants and students get to know us a little bit better. The first slide that you see here, this is actually, let me go back one. That's our founder, Cornelius Vanderbilt. Interesting thing about Cornelius is he's a guy from Staten Island, which a lot of people don't realize. He was definitely a New Yorker. Staten Island Ferry is one of his amazing projects, and he eventually built the family fortune in transportation and industry. But during post-Civil War, so Reconstruction, because he never had a formal education, he helped found Vanderbilt in Nashville by giving $1 million. $1 million went a lot farther back then. So I love the fact that you have this guy from Staten Island who really had an entrepreneurial spirit. He wanted to do something to try and connect the country, especially in a difficult period of our history. We also have this, because he was a ferry boat captain, this incredible nautical theme. We anchor down during football games. A big anchor is carried out onto the field. It's kind of one of the things I think that I like about Vanderbilt that's fairly unusual, that makes it also an interesting place. One of my other favorite things about Vanderbilt is the fact that we do have students coming to us from, again, around the country and around the world. The map that you see here is just a sort of a quick snapshot of where students are from. But the thing I like about this is that it does show the geographic diversity of our students. But it's important for you to understand that our students are coming to us from the depth and breadth of high schools and backgrounds and experiences. 60% of our students actually come from private institutions, from public schools. We really value, again, diversity of thought and experience on our campus. My belief is that one of your jobs in college, and you do have jobs, one of your jobs is to come to Vanderbilt and make it a better place. Another job is to become a critical thinker and a problem solver. And in order to do that, we want you to bring your ideas and your perspectives to campus. We want you sharing those broadly in and out of the classroom, through involvement in student organizations, through study abroad. We really are focused on educating the whole individual. We are also focused on undergraduate teaching and learning, although we have a number of graduate schools, but our undergraduate students are absolutely not competing with our graduate students. So that's an important thing to understand about Vanderbilt. Most of our students come from out of state. We are located in Nashville, Tennessee. About 91 or 92% come from other states other than Tennessee. And about 12% of our undergraduate population is international. So again, that is because of the size of my office in terms of doing the outreach to meet students where they are and to find them and to bring them to campus. Another thing that's very, very important part of the Vanderbilt experience is we want to bring students from that variety of backgrounds and experiences, and we want to make sure that students have equal opportunity to engage in everything that I'm going to talk about. And certainly one of the ways that we have made Vanderbilt affordable and accessible is through distinctive, comprehensive financial aid. Opportunity Vanderbilt is the name for our need-based scholarship program. We are one of 12 institutions in the country that make the promises you see here. We are need blind. That means that when we review applications, we don't know if you can afford to come to Vanderbilt, and it doesn't factor in the application evaluation process for US citizens and eligible non-citizens. We also are able to fund international students, although we may be need aware there. We will meet 100% of families' demonstrated need. Our need-based scholarships do not contain loans, and we don't have caps on income. So this is a way that we do provide accessibility to all of the things that Vanderbilt has to offer. Once you're on campus, like my colleagues are expressing today, the variety of support that we have for students is really incredible. And it's support for the entire being, not just academic support through tutoring, through ViewCept, which is our first-year orientation program. But Vanderbilt is on the cutting edge in terms of providing overall health and wellness through an organization on our campus called the Student Care Network, which is an umbrella network of services for students, because we know that in inviting students on our campus from every background and experience, we know that you're going to bring your challenges with you, and we want to make sure that we are, of course, supporting the whole person. We do have 4 undergraduate schools. We are a liberal arts institution, a comprehensive liberal arts school. That means that the quick definition of liberal arts is gaining knowledge and skills from a lot of different areas. So that means that our engineering students are going to have to take courses that are not engineering. Our engineering students actually have the opportunity to study abroad. It means that our French majors in the College of Arts and Science will have to take courses that are quantitative because having a background in things that are quantitative is very helpful in critical thinking and problem solving. And our French majors are going to go out in the world and make it a better place and become critical thinkers and problem solvers. And be productive members of society. So we have 67 majors. If you add in our minors and our 5-year programs, it takes the offering to over 100. Really, whatever you want to do academically, you can do that at Vanderbilt. Because we are a liberal arts institution also, you have 2 full years to land on a major. It probably won't take you 2 full years to find a major because of the incredible support that we offer. But if there's one takeaway today about Vanderbilt academically, it's this idea of academic flexibility. So our students, they come in, maybe you have an idea of what you want to be when you grow up. I like to say that all of our students are undecided. You have all of the support that you need to figure that out, but you can dabble, you can explore, you can change your mind. 30% of our students double major because they can. I do know students who have a major in up to 2 or 3 different minors, and we still want you to graduate in 4 years. Keeping in mind, though, that that's not just how we define learning. I'm very specifically talking about academics, but learning takes place throughout our campus. You're always learning at Vanderbilt, and it's important that you engage in all the learning activities that we have to offer and that you still graduate in 4 years. We do talk about living and learning communities at Vanderbilt. We are a residential institution. So 6,900 undergraduates and 95% of them do live on campus for all 4 years. And residential college is our model, and that means that we do have faculty living with our students. So beyond your own motivation, the secret to your success at Vanderbilt is going to be those important relationships with faculty members. So it means absolutely connecting with faculty members in your classes through doing internships and research. It also means connecting with faculty where you live. We don't want you to be intimidated by our faculty because they are incredible, experts in their field. They worked in industry, but imagine being on a campus where all of your classes are taught by faculty members and they live with you as well. Our first year students live in an area called the Commons. All 1,600 first year students live there. They're spread among 10 different houses. Each house has actually a faculty head of house who lives there in a first floor apartment with their cats and their dogs and their spouses and partners and their kids. It really is about creating living, learning environments so that you are connecting student to student, you're connecting faculty to student, student to faculty. That is how learning takes place on our campus. Keeping in mind, and I believe I have the next slide correct, that this idea of balance, sorry that part of it's maybe cut off on the one side there, but balance is a hallmark of life at Vanderbilt. 50% of your Vanderbilt experience is going to happen outside of the classroom. I like to talk about learning is hanging out with your friends. Learning is double majoring. Learning is having dinner with faculty. Learning is getting to know the great city of Nashville. Learning is internships, studying abroad. Learning is going to some of the incredible speakers that we have on campus or some of the amazing performers. That is all learning at Vanderbilt. I love to take advantage of the incredible speaker series that we have. I saw Joe Biden a couple of years ago, and in August of 2018, Jay-Z and Beyonce performed at our stadium, which was incredible. I think I was probably the oldest person there, but it was the most amazing musical event of any kind that I've ever seen. And our administration actually gifted tickets to all 1,600 first year students. So it was a pretty remarkable event. Immersion Vanderbilt, you've seen a few of us talk about the word immersion. Again, it's this idea of having immersive experiences. They are so critical to the Vanderbilt experience that we have formalized it through a program called Immersion Vanderbilt. So we're taking what our students are already doing through creative endeavors. Maybe you like to sing, perhaps you've written a play, perhaps you're doing research. You want to do an internship in an international country, whatever it is that you want to do in terms of community service, all of these kinds of immersive experiences, we've formalized it. We're requiring students to have at least one immersive experience. There's going to be all of the support that you need for this from faculty, from advisors and others to make sure, again, that our students are having incredible access to immersive experiences. And keeping in mind that most students are doing at least one and integrating what you're learning in the classroom beyond the classroom as well. And finally, I wanted to end with our spirit of admissions. You might see if you read the first statement, we are a high volume and highly selective institution. But when it comes to the admissions process, the evaluation process, it is the most important thing that we do. It takes a trained cast of hundreds of people to do this. And the process for me, it's one of, I would say, the most comprehensive processes that I've ever been through. We spend months doing it, and it's the most important. And it's also very important for you to know that the process is about finding reasons to admit students. It's really about treating our applicants with dignity and respect through the entire application process. I will end there. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jan. I'm going to have everybody come back online, and Barbara is going to lead her Q&A. And as soon as everyone gets their cameras back up.
Unmuted.
Take it away, Barbara.
Okay. Can everyone hear me? right, Michael, first question is for you. I was intrigued by your little leading statement. What is the Minerva program?
Minerva program at Union, the Minerva program at Union College is a system by which we assign every student a house membership. So based on some random factors, but also some that are associated with your first year preceptoral course that you take, as well as where you live on campus, we make sure that every student is assigned a position, a place on campus where you can really connect through wisdom. So Minerva is the Roman goddess of wisdom. Athena's Greek is her Greek counterpart, right? So on our campus, we talk about becoming brothers and sisters through wisdom. The Minerva program is one of the vehicles through which that happens. So every student on our campus, every faculty member on our campus is assigned a Minerva House membership. And the houses are run by students so that they themselves can present, can manage, and deliver wisdom, knowledge that obviously grows into wisdom in the way that they see to be most beneficial to the Union College community. So they run about 500 different programs and events every year. There's seven different Minerva houses on campus. My house is Brazano House, for example. And the Brazano House, one of the really basic things we do is every Friday there's a coffee house. Mesa House does, I think Mesa House does like a Thursday mac and cheese night. And Golub House does, milkshake Mondays. But those opportunities attract, they're run by each individual house, but they attract students from all over, faculty all over, administrators from all over to come and sit down and talk about whatever that topic might be for the night, and sometimes just to get ice cream.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, all of you, what is your timeline for deciding whether fall semester will be online, on campus, or some hybrid?
Should we go alpha or?
By alphabetical, yep.
Okay, so IU Bloomington has moved our deposit deadline from May 1 to June 1, and we're hopeful to have some guidance from the university leadership and board of trustees by June 1 about the mode of instruction for the fall.
At Union College, we have not formally moved our deadline, but we know that because of everything that's happening, we have encouraged all of our students that have, or the families for students that have planned to enroll fall 2020, to reach out to us and connect with us and let us know what exactly is it that you would need us to do to help you make that decision. So for us, we look at it as every college university is in the same boat. There's not a lot of campus visits or open houses or admitted student days that are happening. So essentially we're all operating from the same position. So if there are, and one example is a young man called today and he says, I need more time because I have this list. And it was a very personal list. And we had a conversation with him and we pulled together a team of folks that are going to address each of those, almost his own mini panel. Tomorrow we'll have that conversation with him, and we're doing that essentially for every student that haven't requested any type of extension to be able to get the information that they need, and then he'll take that information, I'm sure, and ask the other schools that he's considering those same types of questions. So that's what we're doing. We have a PMT, or Planning for Multiple Tomorrows committee, that is trying to work with all of the information, all of the professionals, local, regional, national, to help us plan for fall and beyond. So we haven't definitively said yes or no for fall or how we're going to do fall, but we are day to day literally working to assess that.
Jan? I can't hear her.
Yeah, I think she still has herself muted.
And you're muted.
Jan,
You're still muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
My apologies. Old dog, new tricks. So I was saying that today I attended a virtual town hall meeting for the entire Vanderbilt community hosted by our acting provost and others. I'm very glad that I'm planning for my little corner of the world, but Vanderbilt is going through multiple plans and scenarios, and I was really impressed with what they're doing to try and figure out the fall, which I think is not going to be, everything's going to be open and we're doing things exactly the way that it was, or nothing's going to be open and we're going to be online. It's going to be the right thing, the safe thing, a mixture of all of this. And I'm not going to speak for the others here, but probably it's going to look similar on a lot of campuses. It's going to be a lot of different things that are happening. So I was very impressed with the thought, because it's about keeping all of our communities safe. If you go online, our public website is called Return to Campus. So the idea with so many of our institutions, and I respect all the decisions that institutions are making, is ultimately to get students back to campus. But that's going to, what we're doing is we're planning something that would normally take years in a few months, and it's going to be very comprehensive and pretty amazing. With regard to where we are right now with the incoming class of 2020, we had our May 1st deadline, and we did stick to that. And so we are continuing to work with students on a case-by-case basis. Every one of our admitted students actually has a counselor like myself, a admissions counselor who works with them, and a financial aid counselor as circumstances are changing for our families. We do have a wait list, so we are also working through our wait list. Right now, we are also working with transfer students. So there is still a lot going on.
There have been a lot of questions about deferrals. So let me read one of them. What will your criteria be for allowing incoming freshmen to take a gap year? Will freshmen be allowed to defer fall semester only? Will you cap deferrals? So starting with IU.
Going alphabetical order. Students can defer their matriculation date at IU Bloomington for up to 1 year. There are some stipulations there in terms of the number of credit hours that students can complete during that deferral time. We do ask for some short description of what the student will be doing during that time. And then anything more than 12 credit hours, 12 or more credit hours would change that student into a transfer student. And so 11 or less credit hours over the time would allow the student to maintain their freshman status, freshman scholarships, offer of direct admission into their first choice major, any of those kind of things. At this point, we do not have any cap on the number of students who can defer their matriculation date, and I've not heard that that is on the horizon at this point.
At Union College, we've kind of maintained our level of consistency for how we treat students asking to defer. It's a case-by-case basis. We have seen a few more questions from students who are considering deferring. We're on a trimester system, so realistically, we could push our fall term back into October and still have a full 10-week term before the end of the calendar year, still have a full winter break, and then still do 2 terms, spring and winter. So students can actually defer for fall is what we are suggesting, because again, we just don't know what might happen between now and the next 4 or 6 months or so. We do not have a cap. We always like to have an idea of what the student is doing in that time away from campus or a more formal education or academic setting. And so for us, students simply contact us, contact our director of admissions, and she'll assess those on a case-by-case basis. And yeah, so there's no cap or special consideration, but we want to make sure that every student, every family is comfortable and planning for that next year.
Vanderbilt is similar. We have a few stipulations. It is a 1-year deferral. Deferring enrollment is technically what it is. And the expectation is that students are doing something that is productive. Students cannot enroll full-time at another university. Accumulating more than 12 credits means that a student who had originally been planning to come in as a first-year student would then actually have to apply and transfer to Vanderbilt. So we are working with families and students on a case-by-case basis to consider their plans for deferring their enrollment.
Thank you. Well, we're all looking at the admission statistics from 2019. So for the class of 2021, how will those be altered? Will you be waiving the tests? How will you be looking at the semester grades in light of the fact that there have been many changes in schools? What are your criteria for admission for next year?
So IU as a system and IU Bloomington as a campus announced before any of the COVID situation began, way back in January when we were all in our offices, that we were planning to go test optional for fall of 2021. And so we will continue that plan to be test optional. And so that is not COVID related. That was a decision made by the university leadership and board of trustees before this happened. So we use a holistic review. And so we take into consideration a number of factors beyond just the numbers that you would see, in a presentation like this. And so not only the grades, but the classes you completed in high school, the grades you received in those classes, grade trends, rigor of classes. We have a required essay. We take into consideration non-cognitive factors as well, leadership, community service, involvement, work history. And if you decided to send us an ACT or an SAT, we would certainly consider that, but it is no longer a requirement to have a complete application with Indiana. And we do allow students to self-report those test scores now, which is new for us as well.
Michael?
Yeah, so at Union College, we have, which feels like forever, been test optional. So that will not change the testing that you see in our profile there. About 2/3 of our students will submit testing. So we will not place any great emphasis on reviewing and testing, but with pass fail and different types of skills emerging, we will consider that. And not necessarily hold it against students for something that they have absolutely no control over. The other thing that I would encourage is, or warn those counselors, independent school counselors, and other folks that are making recommendations for students, those will become even more important, I believe, in the process, because they can speak more to that student's pre-COVID as well as their current progression through the different types of courses they're taking. We have always done kind of a holistic review as well, similar to Indiana. So that for us won't change much. We just know that some of the other factors might peak a little bit in terms of how they're viewed, or just they'll just be different. For example, demonstrated interest. Like, how do you demonstrate interest in our campuses now that you can't hop in a car and drive over and visit us or what have you? So they'll just be different, not necessarily eliminated from the process or the review.
Vanderbilt will continue to require either SAT or ACT for the foreseeable future. The question that I am getting from concerned students is with regard to when they will be able to take a standardized test per our deadlines. And I'm encouraging them to check the websites for College Board and ACT because they are doing a lot of work to try and figure that out. So we will still require standardized tests. But as it said under our spirit of admissions, really the mission statement for my office, we're looking for reasons to admit students. And really the world has changed for everyone. So it's going to be looking at what high schools have been able to do. We believe that students are, operating with due diligence and trying their best, and we will always be able to find that reflected in their applications. So we will pivot and we will flex and still be able to find great students despite the current circumstances.
Jan, this question's for you too. The person wants to know, how important for admissions purposes are AP exam grades?
Good question. Vanderbilt, I'm going to broaden this a little bit. We don't require SAT 2s, or of course, we don't require AP or predicted scores for IB or anything like that. I often get the question, what if I have taken a test and I don't send you the score? And if you do take a test and you feel like that test score, AP, SAT 2 or something else really supports your application, you're welcome to send that to us. It becomes part of the evaluation, but because it's not required, I've never admitted or denied a student based on something that we don't require. But it will become a part of your evaluation of your application if you're a student. And I like to say that those scores that we don't require but you want to send to us are something that we might look at on the periphery. It might be a piece toward explaining your overall academic achievement.
There have been a lot of questions about the wait list. It seems that more students are being accepted off the wait list this year and earlier than in past years. Can any of you speak to that? Scott?
Yeah, at Union, we have gone to our wait list as well. We just, I think it's a result of the time that we're in right now. I don't know any other explanations to, what might have caused us to do that, but I think it's sheerly a matter of concern that families have about sending their sons and daughters and making a decision, just personally, academically, financially, to say, yep, we're going to send our son or daughter across the country or halfway across the country or up the East Coast to go to college with so much uncertainty.
Same. Scott, I see you shaking your head.
Yeah, I agree with what Michael shared. I mean, certainly schools use the wait list as a way to better ensure their enrollment goals for their fall class. And as those goals, are certainly under pressure this year because of the COVID situation, I think that's just one more tool that schools are using to try and ensure that they come as close as possible to reaching those enrollment goals.
Thinking about the various application types, early decision, early action, regular decision, how will the current crisis impact admission, for example, in early decision relative to financial consideration?
I can talk a little bit. Vanderbilt has two decision plans, early decision and regular decision, and we have two deadlines, which as far as I know are still in place for students applying early decision. So November the 1st is ED1 and January the 1st is ED2. And cannot predict what the applicant pool is going to look like for early decision or regular decision. Financial considerations as they are changing for families are obviously going to have an impact on what we are able to do. We are fortunately well funded and have made it over the past 12 years a priority to make sure that early decision and regular decision students are funded. I think that sometimes families worry about the commitment with early decision. And the truth there is that families are encouraged to look at all of the points in terms of fit for their students, including costs and financial aid, before they consider early decision, because we consider it to be. It is a binding decision that we make. So we're committing to the student is committing to us, and we always fund early decision families based on our parameters for need-based scholarships, and early decision families are also considered for merit-based scholarships. Students have to apply for all of this. But I think that that is an important distinction. We do fund early decision families, and as we do fund regular decision admitted families.
What kind of advising program do you have available for students in the class of 2020 and the class of 2021? Scott, can you?
Could you repeat the beginning of that question again? Sorry, you cut out a little bit.
Yeah, sorry. What kind of advising programs will you have in place for the class of 2020 and, of course, the class of 2021?
Well, I think when you use the term advising, you're talking about an entire, spectrum of student support services for both prospective and incoming students. And so, for students in the fall of 2020, their advising really is shifted from applying to school and that process to now enrolling. And all of our summer orientation programs have been transitioned to being an online virtual experience with a number of modules. Students will complete both before and after an individualized academic advising session, where courses for the fall semester are chosen with an academic advisor, and then they'll move into that traditional advising and career planning and placement kind of structure that we offer, where students have both an academic advisor and a specific career planning and placement advisor through their academic school. And then for fall of 2021, those of us on the admissions side will continue to be their advisors going forward. And certainly we're hearing from more and more rising seniors who are doing learning and are at home now and are doing their college search process virtually, where maybe they would have traditionally gone to a college fair or come and visited some campuses over spring break or the beginning part of the summer here, but are now able to do those things. So we are scheduling individual appointments, both on the phone as well as through technology such as this, to meet and talk with prospective students. We certainly are offering some more group advisement and group presentations online that are a little bit more multimedia than just a conversation that students can do maybe in lieu of a campus visit until that time when they're able to get to Bloomington. So that's the support network that's really set up right now with us for those two cohorts going forward. So we know that the times are challenging, and we're trying to create spaces and virtual places for those interactions to happen to support students both in their search process as well as in their enrollment process for students who will be joining us in the fall.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've experienced pretty much the same. We have a much more robust offering of virtual opportunities to connect with union faculty, staff, students, current students. The other thing that we've done for class of 2020, because of the whether real or perceived idea that there's a distancing or absence of opportunity to connect, we've moved up our advising, like literally for like selecting classes, identifying what your major might or might not be. All of those things are taken. We're starting like literally this week or next week actually with our advising. So end of May through the summer, there will be advising sessions, and a lot of it really is just to maybe allay some of the concerns that students are out there kind of on their own searching for classes. So they'll still have those opportunities to connect with our advisors. So you'll have your academic advisor. Then if you're one of the special programs, we have a direct entry medicine program, direct entry law. You'll have another staff member that's advising you for that program. We have a class dean model in place. So you'll have your class dean in addition to your academic advisor. So I think for us on our campus, even with a really small incoming class of about 570 or so students, it's really important for us to make sure that the students and their families know that they will have a really close connection or advising, counseling support staff looking after them through this summer. And that'll continue for 2021, probably even more if we're in similar situations, I'm sure.
Vanderbilt is similar in that we have provided lots of online resources for admitted students. We do not bring admitted students to campus for any kind of orientation or class selection until they get to campus in August. Those sort of things are done virtually through phone calls and other things. Admitted students are invited to join the Facebook page. So that's been one thing that we did several years ago that allows them to connect, and they also connect on their own outside of that. But there is also the opportunity with online resources called The Road to Vanderbilt, which is the link is provided for the incoming students so that they can see exactly what the timeline looks like. Course registration happens in June. I think that they've already gone through housing and immunization. Sorry, we walked them through all of that, but similar to everybody else.
I'm going to jump in to the conversation. Sorry, Barbara. We're getting pretty close to where I'd like to cut off, but I still would like to get in some of the audience questions. So if you guys can stick with us for another couple of minutes, if we can just get through a couple of these questions, I really appreciate it, and I'm sure the audience would as well. I got several questions that wanted to get a little bit more information about deferrals and how that's going to affect rising seniors when they apply. Too many kids defer. How is that going to affect the class of 2021?
I mean, certainly it's a situation that we'll be monitoring over the course of the summer. I mean, students with us can defer up to 2 weeks before the start of classes. And so we'll be monitoring that situation through the course of the summer after a decision about the mode of instruction or what the fall will look like. We do have a requirement that all of our first-year students do live on campus. Now, we have a freshman class of about 8,100, and so it's a pretty significant number of students, and we're anticipating that we'll be able to manage what is typically a pretty small number of deferrals. We assume that's going to grow this year within the context of a large freshman class and 2 residence halls that are right now undergoing renovation that will be back online by next year. So we feel like that we have the capacity to do that without it being a detriment to rising seniors as they look to apply in the fall.
Yeah, I mean, I would echo that. We're planning as we go. We don't anticipate any changes. Our admitted students for 2020 have until July 1 to defer. And again, we've seen an uptick, but we attribute that to where we are right now in COVID-19. If we continue in a situation that we're in now, we'll probably, continue to see, just for example, applications by region will change. I mean, we all have student bodies that are representative of, national, international population. Like, will that change? I just think that you'll see more applicants centered on the Northeast, even if just to, again, allay concerns that families have of sending their kids away across country and to the unknown, so to speak. So, yeah.
I think for Vanderbilt, since our May 1 deadline has already passed, and we typically have the wait list wrapped up by early July, as everyone is saying, we're going to monitor the situation. We still find that a large number of students are accepting their spaces in the incoming class, but it could mean that rather than having everything wrapped up by July, could delay it a little bit. But I think the focus on bringing in the class of 1,600 or so, that's where we are. And with the wait list we do have a valve in the process.
Thank you. And I guess this question is more for Jen and Scott. Will Vanderbilt or IU allow students just to defer first semester and come for second semester?
I mean, that is an option that's available to students now. We would encourage those students to have a conversation with us before they did that, knowing what that means in terms of the short turnaround time, in terms of orientation and housing and all of those pieces that are typically summer experiences, summer decisions, to be making those at the end of the calendar year with, classes starting in mid-January, and what that might mean in terms of where they would be with a cohort, particularly if they were a direct admit to their first choice major. If that is the decision that a family or a student is thinking about, we would really encourage them to have a conversation with us about that and what that might look like.
Although deferrals are done for Vanderbilt on a case-by-case basis, the deferral is offered for 1 year. Not for a semester. And the way we are structured, we are not necessarily, well, let me put it like this, not structured so that we would have a large number of students who start in the spring. Having said that, I won't speculate, but I would imagine that there we would stay the course. And as we are reacting to things, it would be carefully considered if we had a large number of deferrals. It hasn't been I guess an unwieldy number so far. So we're not seeing that even this situation has really produced huge numbers of students who are asking for deferrals. Typically our deadline for requesting a deferral is, I think, in mid-June, and we're coming up to that pretty quickly. But again, things are still flexible.
The Common App has added an optional question specifically about COVID-19. What is your best advice for students applying? Is that something that everyone should be filling out, or only those with extreme hardship or like a story that they really need to tell?
I did a similar session like this with some colleagues a couple weeks ago, and I think there were 5 different schools represented, and it was so interesting that everybody, their recommendation was that students should not write about COVID-19 on their essay. Now, if there's a question on the application, that's a bit different, particularly if there are extenuating circumstances. But I would, if it's a personal story to you and you can give some, and it gives some context to your application. But the reality is we're all going through this unprecedented, unknown type of challenging hardship of a time for us, and everybody's hardships are different. But what we don't want to happen is this flood of essays and in your personal statement to be COVID-19. That's.
I think that I, despite maybe not wanting to encourage students to write about COVID-19, I'm imagining with the applications for next year and the year after, we probably will be reading about it. And, if students make the choice, I would say, as I always do, about when you write about yourself, it needs to be distinguishable from everybody else. It needs to be really specific. You need to tell an interesting story. I know that there are interesting stories out there, but if you're a senior in high school, or maybe a junior, and you're considering writing about this, there are literally hundreds of thousands of people going through the same thing, as Michael just said. So how are you going to make your story, your essay, whatever you're writing about, unique to you? That's what you've got to do with a COVID story, we'll call it.
And maybe we're a little different in the fact that, or at least different from Vanderbilt and Union, in the fact that we have a supplement, an IU specific essay that is the only essay we read. So we would not be reading other Common App essays, and that's pretty clear when you fill out the Common Application and you come to the information about Indiana University. We only read our supplement, and our supplement is a very straightforward why us? Why do you feel like we would be the best fit for you in terms of reaching your academic or career goals? So that would be what we would be focusing on, would be that essay. But I do applaud the Common App for giving that space, and we'll certainly have that will be downloaded. That would be something that we would have in an applicant's file, but that would be the primary essay that we would be reading.
So I'm not going to keep you much longer. Just going to ask you one more question, and if each of you can give a quick overview of the culture on your campus, and if you could sum up why choose you.
Well, I guess I certainly alluded to it in the presentation. IU Bloomington is a classic residential Big Ten college experience in a college town, and that's certainly what we offer in terms of the depth and the breadth of the academic programs, but also the campus life and the community opportunities on a large public research university. Very school spirited, and I guess I'd suffice to say that it's rare that you talk to somebody who's a student or an alumnus of Indiana University who's not very, very enthusiastic about the institution, the community, and their experience there. And I think that really speaks volumes about the culture and the community that's available in Bloomington.
At Union College, and I talked about it a little bit, or maybe a lot, the Minerva program, I think, and the spirit in which it's managed on campus makes Union College pretty special. I won't say it's unique because there may be a few other campuses that talk directly about kind of even going beyond that small, close-knit community and to becoming brothers and sisters connected through that common thread of wisdom and maybe shared uncommonly. That coupled with the idea that we have a president that leads by example in pushing himself to be comfortable in his discomfort. So when students arrive on a college campus, we anticipate that they'll all be adjusting to a new environment. They will all be in a position where they are questioning at least some part of their development and existence and identity. We anticipate that they'll be challenged, even just being away from home and doing laundry, making sure you get meals and get exercise. So all of those things kind of, I guess, come to a point where our president steps out and he says he's going to lead, and because he's challenging every student, every faculty, every staff member to push themselves to be comfortable in their discomfort. So when you're talking about welcoming 2,200 new brothers and sisters, you should anticipate being a little bit uncomfortable, but to feel supported and encouraged and welcomed to do just that, and to know that you'll be amongst friends and family in that environment.
For Vanderbilt, I'm going to say happiness. And what I mean by that is the Princeton Review, and I typically don't talk about rankings. If you want to explore us through rankings, that's great. But the Princeton Review every year sends out a survey to college students. And for the past several years, Vanderbilt has ranked as number 1, 2, or 3. Doesn't really matter, but I love the idea that our students are happy. And I don't know if we explore the idea of happiness, that certainly speaks to fit and all of those kind of things. But I think offering academic flexibility, we fund students with no loans, being in the city of Nashville, having a campus culture that it's about collaboration and cooperation and community rather than competition. Having access to so many different student experiences and being challenged but supported, living together on an incredible campus, connections with faculty. There's so many things there that really contribute to the idea of happiness and our students being happy. And I really want to work at a place like that. So I love that about Vanderbilt.
Thank you guys all so much. I really appreciate your time and being here with us tonight and answering Barbara's questions and my questions, our audience's questions. I have a ton more questions that I could have asked. I could have probably kept you for an hour or longer. But if I can send some of those to you over email, and maybe I can publish them on my blog afterwards, so we can try to get as many answers out to the public as possible. I'd really appreciate that. No rush, obviously. For the audience, thank you all for coming tonight. We have a bunch of webinars coming up, as well as ones that we've recorded. If you go to swornwebinars.com, you can find links to our previous conversations with FSU, UCF, UF, UM, and also a webinar about test optional and what it means for you. Next week, we're doing a virtual summer enrichment webinar with Summer Discovery, Prakash, and Capital Debate. Then the week after that, we have another conversation with Lynn, Florida Polity, and University of West Florida. I will be sending out links to those tomorrow for everyone that was on the webinar or missed the webinar, as long as you registered. And the recording of this webinar will be up on our YouTube page tomorrow as well. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you all have a great night. Continue to stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you.